Hello and welcome back to the Stepping Into Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Tori Stauffer, and today we have an amazing guest, Miss Taylor Lee. Welcome, Taylor.
Thank you.
I met Taylor, it was probably 2.5 years ago at this point. And
Yeah.
I've worked with her on all sides. So I've been in her coaching programs. She's been a client of mine. And she really truly embodies so much of what I believe about stepping into yourself. And she is a person who really not just epitomizes it, but the way you lean into the pivot, the way you attack a pivot and just like it appears from the outside with no fear. So I'm really excited to dive in and have everyone meet you and get to know you and love you just like I do. So welcome. And before we get started, I'd love for you to share just your story.
Oh man. Well, that's a long one. I'll say it as brief as I can, and then you can tell me what else you think people would want to know. But I'm Taylor Lee. Thank you, Tori. That was like such a good introduction. I am a business mentor. I work mostly with coaches, but the way that I like to say it is if you're selling your wisdom in any kind of way to help people have a transformation, I help you make more money doing that. And what I'm really great at helping people with is their content, their messaging, their marketing, their sales. And I infuse all of that with the energetics and the mindset, of course, because I really see it all as like intertwined. And my story, wow, I have been doing this since 2016. I was 20 when I started. So the very beginning of my business was like kind of this era of just being super young and having no idea what I was doing and being insecure about my age and like anxious and like doing it anyway. And so I built my business for the first 4 years kind of in that era online. And then I became a mom in 2020. And then I had 3 kids in 3.5 years and kept growing my business during that. So that was my era of like pregnancies and maternity leaves and postpartum and always having a baby, like wearing a baby everywhere I went. And now it has been 2.5 years since we met because my son, who was at that event we met at, is 2.5, which is crazy. I'm just still here doing the same thing I've always been doing. I feel like I've gone through a million pivots and a million comebacks and so many like evolutions and changes, but that's kind of what I feel like is different about how I run my business, which isn't everyone's cup of tea, but for me, like this really is like a passion and like a purpose piece for me. And so my business has always like, it feels like it has to evolve as I evolve. And it's always been a place where I have just fully expressed myself. Sometimes that seems like it makes it a little messier and a little more up and down, but it's actually been like truly, I say all the time, like my business is, I've healed so many parts of me just by being myself online and sharing my voice online and getting to work with the incredible women that I do, that it's been a really cool journey. Like I've made a lot of money and I love that, but I've also just again like healed so many parts of me. And that's been really amazing
I
as
love
well.
it. I was literally talking to somebody yesterday and I said, they were talking about like not liking therapy, but they're an entrepreneur. And I'm like, you don't even need therapy as an entrepreneur because you do so much self-development work. Like
You
maybe
have
not your
to.
first couple of years. Your first couple of years, you're just like, ah, I'm gonna do it. But then like as you start seeing like the blocks come up and the doubt come up, like there is so much self-development in entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And for me, like that's honestly, as much as it's like the most brutal part a lot of the time, because you're like, oh my God, something else that I have a problem with and need to work through and another thing. But it's honestly like my favorite thing as well. Like I always say, like me and my people, like we are the ones that get just as excited about a breakthrough as we do a new client. I feel like you're probably very similar to that.
Very similar, yeah. So when I met you and then after that I started listening to your podcast, which
Yeah.
I don't know if you're planning on like
I
bringing it
need
back, but
to.
like it was such a good intro into you because you are it was before I was hearing a lot of coaches talk about the energetics in business. And so it was really refreshing to hear that, because that's kind of where I was, but I had never really looked at it. I kind of separated the two. Like I had
Yeah.
my at the time I called it like my woo side, right? I
Hmm.
had that, and then I had my business, and like the two would never meet. I was like scared to come out as woo on you know, but the way you infuse it and the way you coach your clients through it, and it's not just one, it's both, and it's marrying both.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
And I think, you talk about, I mentioned your pivot, and you talk about your pivots as well, but I think it's also so true to you, like, and the people that you coach is, as women, we do go through seasons, right? When you started, you were a baby,
Yeah.
And as you evolve and as you have kids and realize, like, yes, my business is really important, but I only get this chunk of time with my kids, and I don't want to miss that for hustling. And how do you blend that? And so I really see too, like, the evolution you've had includes that, is like you being really intentional about how you're showing up in your business and what you're putting out there, because your like most important piece is being a mom.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing too, like having multiple kids, and mine are still all very young, I would say 6 and under, but it changes so quickly.
Hmm.
Like to think that just 2 years ago, like I still had a baby that I was nursing and putting down for naps and like literally keeping on my chest all the time. And now all my kids are like running around, but they all have their, I mean, you know this. It's like they're all different. They all have their own things. And I don't know. I think there's like this misconception that like if you have the right team and you automate enough stuff and you have the perfect strategy, like your business will kind of run itself and like it'll work perfectly with your life. But for me, because I have obviously a lot of moms that want to work with me and people that resonate with like that being such a high value in my life. And I feel like everybody always thinks that it's like funnels and systems, and that's actually not at all what I'm good at. Like, what I'm good at is like going with the flow, pivoting quickly, letting it evolve. Like, I'm not afraid to drop everything in my business when my family needs me. Like, I call it flow, but I don't mean like ease and flow and it's just all great and it just works out perfectly. Like, flow, I have to go with the flow, and I let my business work around the flow. And it's definitely not as maybe strategic and put together as people would think. But neither is motherhood, right? Like it's like one of the messiest, most chaotic, like you never know. You literally can't predict what motherhood's going to throw at you. And so that's the season I've been in for a while.
Yeah, well, and life in general, like, and I feel like this year, this transition year too, has been really huge for people. Of like, last year shedding the snake, and this year the fire horse. Whatever you believe, and that's fine. You don't have to believe this, but man, that energy is there, and
Yeah.
feeling it, and just there was a lot of heaviness last year, and a lot of untangling, and a lot of work. And this year I feel that fire, I feel that energy, and you're right, like leaning into it and leaning into where you are, yes, in motherhood, but also just in this season of life.
You're totally right. The year of the snake was like so brutal.
Well, you like shocked the hell out of everyone at one point, and was like, "I'm dropping everything. I'm starting over. Nothing is aligned. Let's go." And I think you broke the internet. Like everybody was like, "Taylor, are you okay? Like blink twice if you need help?" But it was like beautiful to watch, because I've also watched the evolution from when I did meet you, when you were, with Colton, and wearing a baby to an event, which was badass, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, you had this timidness to you, like you
Yeah.
weren't sure. And I think that there's so many of us that are like chasing coaching or chasing the answer and thinking we're going to find it somewhere when really it's listening to yourself and listening to your truth. Because no, people can give you strategies all day long, but they can never tell you what you should do because you're the only one who really knows what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy to think because even at that point, I had already been in business for give or take 8 years. And I had already made at least $4 million. Like, I had had a lot of success and a lot of experience, but I don't, I mean, we don't, if I really got into why, we'd probably be here all day because I definitely have dissected it. Don't worry. But like, I was like just so quick to outsource the answers and outsource my power. And like, I just feel like I spent a really long time trying to search for someone or something who could give me the answers. And that's just been a really big part of my journey. And, you know, I think something that a lot of people don't know is like when I did start my business when I was 20, like I had like crippling, like debilitating social anxiety. Like driving to the grocery store, which was literally 2 roads away from my house, like I would like once I got in the parking lot, like I would just have like a full-blown breakdown.
Mm.
Like I could not talk to people. I couldn't go to a restaurant and order food. Like I couldn't be around my family, my husband's family. Like I couldn't talk to people. Like, I just was so afraid of people. And I always tell people, like, I completely healed that through my business. But of course, like, and even still, like, I have anxiety, but not to that extent at all. But even still, it's like when I would get into, let's just say, like, the room with authority, right? Like somebody who you're paying for advice or mentorship, or like, I would like get so much more timid, or even just being around other women. Because I'm sure you know how this is. It's like, you see another woman who's running a business and has success, and you just immediately like, we just know what it takes, so we admire them so much. We're not thinking like, oh, she's probably got a ton of issues and all kinds of problems that aren't figured out. We're like, man, like how does she do it all? And she's on her A game and she's killing it. And wow, and like I love that as women we can do that for each other, but we're often so much harder on ourselves. And so yeah, I was definitely like a lot more timid just 2 years ago. And this
Mm.
last year, like letting go of so much of my business, letting go of like the way that I was hiring mentors and working with mentors. And my voice has really come forward.
It really has. Your social media is so potent. Like it really is truly you, you know. And I will say, so I in my photography business, I work with a lot of coaches, and you are one of very few who is 100% behind the scenes, the same person you are in front of the scenes. Like it
Thank
is,
you.
and I think like when we're talking too about that, going into these rooms, right? And seeing these people and feeling a certain kind of way, like I think we also have to like address the elephant in the room of like how much of that was fake. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's so many coaches out there that are telling you like this is my life, this is how I live, this is my, but it really really isn't. And as
Yeah.
someone who's gotten to see behind the scenes of it for people's businesses of what they say they are and then what they tell me behind the scenes they are, it's not the same, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very easy to forget.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things that was real spicy for you this past year was you calling that out and calling out that like the some of the issues in the coaching industry.
Yeah. I started doing that years ago, but not like this year. But like, I've always been somebody that talked about my opinion on sales, right? Like, and I created my program, Transparent Sales. I mean, this is like 2019, I think, like that long ago, talking about like why I don't do sales calls and even like DMing people, not because I think that I'm too good for it, but because I think that not all, like, is there anything wrong with messaging somebody and chatting? No. Is there anything with hopping on the phone with someone and making sure that your work is like a good fit? No. Like, and I'm far from anti-sales, but I think that a way that sales is done a lot of the time is actually, I mean, sales literally is a form of manipulation. Like, so is marketing. It's psychology based. And there's so many ways that it's done that I've always been like, I just think that that's like messed up. So I've always talked about that. But this past year, like, yeah, I talked about just all my thoughts on everything, very unfiltered. I needed to, like, I really needed to.
But I think that too, like one of the things that I've been saying, like to the people in my audience, is how important authenticity is right now in the age of AI, in the age of presenting whatever version of reality is not even real. I think people are craving real authenticity. And so to hear you say things that other people are thinking or concerned about, and then and just somebody having the courage to say them, is so important. And speaking your truth even when it's not popular and might get you in trouble is like refreshing. One of the things that you said when you were, kind of opening everything up was your ability to do it anyway. And I want to talk about that because, we can talk about meditation and alignment all day long. But I think the thing that sets people apart from being like good and, I mean, insanely successful is their ability to get out of their own way and just do it. So can you speak to like your experience with that and what you see your clients going through with that?
There's so many directions I could take that. I mean, I think, do you mean in terms of like if somebody's feeling fear?
Yeah, I think when you have that feeling come up, like let's say you get a ping, like, oh,
Yeah.
I really am meant to do this. Take this podcast, for example.
Yeah.
That's been on my heart for a year and a half, but it's been like I have no problem
Yeah.
taking a leap in something that is somewhat understood to me, right? Like I can pivot in photography, no problem. But when it's completely separate, but you have these pings that keep coming up and keep coming up and you just can't take that leap. What is it? What do you think it is of people like yourself who can just jump, who can just do it anyway?
Well, I think the thing is that there's plenty of things that I have really dragged my feet on. It's just that you don't really see that side, to be like fully honest.
Hmm.
So even like what I went through this year without getting into like details, but I knew that I needed to remove myself from a certain space for 6 months at least. But you could even say that there was probably another 4 months before that where I was like, kind of. And then there was 6 months where I was like, no, I need to. And then I did. And then I spent a couple months being like, I want to say something, but I'm not going to. I'm not like publicly. Like the thing is I want to be fully honest that I think everybody has that. Like there's always just a lag time. Like that's normal. But also, like where I'm at now is, and I'm sure you can relate to this with many things in your life. I'm sure anyone listening can. When you think back on all the things that you dragged your feet on in the past, it's like I feel like you learn the same lessons over and over and over. It's like, I knew I needed to do that. I didn't. The idea did not go away. The only thing that probably ends up happening is like, you just see how much time you wasted.
Mm.
Like every single time. And for me, one thing that I have struggled with, or that's been harder for me, where I have really dragged my feet specifically is people, like trusting myself with people. I I know that I get very, very quick reads on people. And I just know, that's why, I mean, you know this about me. Like I teach so much about like soulmate coach and soulmate client. When you work with your people, and any business owner will know what I mean. You have those clients that are like, they're great, they're clients, and then you have like your people, right? Like that you work with and you work with for years and you just get each other and it's like, do you want to grab lunch? Like it's like they're just your people. Like that's something I prioritize so much in my business is like I want to work with my people. The reason is like someone can come into my DMs and be like, "Hey, I want to know more about your mastermind." And like I feel it instantly. Like, "Oh, this is one of my people," or it's not. And it's not like even a rude or a mean thing,
Hmm.
but I'm the same way with friendships, mentors, just even people in our life, right? Like even right before this podcast, Frankie and I were talking about who's my husband, like a certain contractor. And I was like, mm-mm. Like I can just feel like not,
Yeah.
nope, not our person. And there's not even anything really specific where it's like he did this and that's why. It's just like I feel it. That like in the last year, I think the biggest changes for me have been like just using my voice, being honest, being fully me, and also like trusting my read on people.
Hmm.
Because I don't consider myself a super judgmental person as much as I do have my own inner mean girl. I think we all do. I'll admit it. But like I can get along with anyone and I can see the good in pretty much anyone. So when I have that just feeling of like, no, this isn't right, it's so hard for me to like walk away or yeah, I mean, really just walk away or say no to something that's not for me or just like end a relationship that's not right. And in hindsight, like every single time I've been right. And every single time I just wasted so much time. And like something I've been doing a lot of is like, have you heard of like shadow work?
Yes.
So I've been like,
Well, I've heard all the work.
yeah, I know you have. Like I've always loved like positive mindset work, like affirmations and visualizing your future and like just declaring like I am all these amazing things. And I still love that work and I think that's very important. Like you should. I think that's really great work to do. But I've been really like looking at the other side of things. So it's like I've told myself that like I don't cut people off or I don't call things out or say my truth because I'm nice. But like actually there's a part of me that's led a lot of people on for a long time. And then when I have cut things off, it's been like, wait, where did that come from? Like, it like makes you like look a certain way. And so I've been I've been like even looking at stuff like that. And I think you could apply that to anything, like even with a podcast or a business idea or an offer idea. Like often we tell ourselves like it's for this really good reason that we're not doing it. Maybe it is, but sometimes there's this more like shadowy side behind it that can be really interesting to look at too.
Yeah, and I think it's also trying to balance the whole, like, sometimes I do believe that things are held back because it's not
Yes.
quite your time yet, right? But I love that saying that, like, what's meant for you will always circle back around, right?
Yeah.
And so learning to listen to that. You were talking about like your intuition with people, but I'm really leaning into learning how to listen to my body's thing. Like when my body says, "Hey, go sit down and watch a Bravo show."
Yeah.
Leaning into it and being like it's allowed because I think we
Yeah.
have built up in our head how we should be, right? We should be working all the time. Like I have my shadow side is like being called lazy by my parents when I was a kid and like
Hmm.
that. So now like no matter how hard I'm working, I'm always thinking if I sit down to rest, I'm lazy. No, it's like not
Right.
that at all, right? And so learning how to do that, learning how to listen to yourself and trust yourself in all of those things.
I talk to clients about that all the time, like listening to your body, even in the day to day of like what you're doing in your business. Like, I think one of the best things that people could learn about themselves is like, what does a yes feel like in your body? What does a no feel like in your body? And what does, like what you're saying, like a not right now? Like, I always think of like the magic 8 ball thing where it's like, ask again later. Like, sometimes that is the answer. It's just like, there's not an answer right now. Come back another time. But a lot of the time, like, you can just feel it in your body. Like, I know that I'm meant to do that, or I know that I'm not. And that like when I say intuition, like I very much am more of like I mean also someone that has anxiety, like I feel it in my body. So it's like I feel the yes in my body, I feel the no in my body. It's just the difference between like do you listen to it or not?
And I think that's part of the piece where you have to train yourself, right? It's like it's trusting yourself again. Because if you think about it, when we're kids, we do whatever we feel like, good or bad, right? Whatever our body tells us to do, we
Yeah.
just do. And then we, are shaped by society and what we should do. And I think, especially as women, we have this people pleasing tendency of And that's probably where the, like, you called it leading people on. I think that's probably that people pleasing, like not wanting to have people think certain things of you, or not wanting people to think you're mean. And it's not mean. It's just like, this is my truth. And I think women, when we hit our 30s and our 40s, we get to this point where we're like, why? Like, shouldn't me and my opinions and my feelings and my boundaries come before theirs? Not in a rude way, but in a, like, I matter too. And we forget that for so long.
And you just realize, like, if you're a kid and you grow up in a household where maybe you feel like you have to like walk on eggshells or like kind of like, I think a lot of kids grew up in this dynamic of like, I need to make sure that dad is happy or mom is happy or like whatever, right? Then it's impossible to bring that into every relationship ever. Especially like someone like us that's online and connecting with a lot of people. Like, everyone is just not going to be your person. It doesn't have to be because they're this, that, or the other. Like, you can only have so many relationships in your life, like close relationships. I think that's the thing I didn't realize in my 20s was someone not being for me doesn't make them bad, and it doesn't make me judgmental. Like, it just, like, that's not my person, and I have to prioritize. Like, I'm like, I have 3 children and a husband and a couple good friends and a team member. Like,
Who's amazing, by the way.
yeah.
You have a good team.
Yes. It's like, I don't have room for a lot more than that. And so if you're not like a soul yes person, like it's not personal. It's just everybody has a different capacity. And again, seasons, like some people are in a season of being connected to a lot of people and networking and whatever. And some people are in a season, like for some people in 2026, this might be the year of friendships, right? Like, I don't feel like that for me this year. Not that I don't want any friends, but it's like, this isn't a year where I'm like craving to widen my circle. Like, kind of the opposite, to be very honest with you. But there's other people this year who will be like, I want to have a dozen close girlfriends and I want to like throw a Galentine's party and go on a cruise this summer together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's in a different season, and also everyone's different. Some people are more wired to like have a lot more people around them, and some people I think are wired to have a lot less. Same thing in our businesses though. I think some people are meant to have 55 different offers that they're running, and then some people are so much more well suited to have like one signature thing. This is the only thing I do, no exceptions. And it just like applies to everything in my mind.
And I love that in your coaching containers, that is, you are so good about letting everybody have their own version of their business, of saying like, hey, what feels good to you? Well, let's develop that,
Yeah.
instead of you have to do it XYZ way. Which again, like, I think I think there's a time for strategy, but there's also a time where we hit our business where you can get only so far with strategy. And then you really have to do the, like, what is your soul telling you to do, right? Like, yes, use the strategy, but what are you called to do? And you are so excellent at like helping people trust themselves in it, because it is a muscle to be like, I don't want to do XYZ, but I've been told for 10 years I have to.
Yeah.
And you're like, what if you didn't?
And think about it. It's like with every singular strategy, like let's just say the webinar, like the typical webinar strategy, let's just use that. It's like only one person ever makes it to the very top with that strategy. Like, there's going to be one person who makes the most money with that strategy. There's going to be lots of people that make a lot of money with it. But that's why with my clients, it's like, if you just go inward and you trust what your body's telling you to do, detail by detail, you will, because I don't even consider myself a creative person. I never had. Like, I've never been artistic. I don't think of anything very new. But when I trust my body on every little detail, I end up doing something that looks really creative and different. And people are like, how did you think of that? I didn't think of it. Like, I took the things I've been taught to do, and I trusted how my body felt about each little detail. And then I always say it's kind of like, then I put all all the info my body told me in this little cauldron, you know, and like, poof, here's something like totally me. And then like I can go to the top with that thing. Like there's no more competition with it. It's just my thing. I think it's so funny that people think they're going to like build this business, like a business in a box type thing, you know, where it's like you join a pro. And if I wouldn't have done that in the beginning of my business, like I wouldn't know all the things I know today. Like the first couple years of my business, you're so right. It was like I needed to learn how to write good emails, how to write good posts, how to do a good sales page, how to do a typical boring webinar, right? Like how to do a sales call despite hating them, how to do a sales. Like I needed to learn all this stuff. So then again, like I could lay it all out, trust my body detail by detail. And then now I have this business that people ask me like, how did you think of that? Like I didn't. That's how I got here, and I like it here.
Yeah. Well, it's learning it all and then applying what what feels right. Like when I'm coaching people on running a photography business, it's the same thing. Like there is such a bro field for so long and everybody telling you have to do it this way and this way and this way. And like I literally Frankenstein strategies together
Yes.
that kind of like work for the business. And sometimes I do it this way and sometimes I do it this way. And the rhyme or the reason is like, what's my desired outcome? And like you just go with it.
Exactly.
So what are like your go-to favorite energetic things that you do that help you? And I know like here's the other thing with some of it, whether it's meditation or journaling or any of that. I do find like sometimes it changes in different seasons that we're in. But what are the tried and true ones that you always come back to that help you be the person you are and run the business you run?
I mean, this one's so basic, but the thing that's really stayed true for me through all the seasons that I think is like, dare I say, like my most profitable mindset thing. Really great name, right?
I, honestly, there's a course coming out of it already. Come on.
It's just being able to shift my belief in the moment. And so for a long time, I would do a lot of I would journal like 5 times a day. And I would write out all my limiting beliefs and all my fears and all the like kind of just like a negative thought brain dump. And I would take so much time and it was worth it. It was so worth it. And I would just shift every single one. Now, I'll be honest, I still do journal pretty much every day. I just journal a little bit differently. But like it's more just it's like an automatic response for me now where when I think a thought, especially business, like something new maybe in my life, it might not be as natural, but with business it's like literally I did a masterclass yesterday and I was very authentically me. And immediately I was like, I'm just going to re-record that. Like I was too me. I said too much. I don't know why I can't shut up. Like I have no control over my mouth. Like I was like hard on myself about it, even though people loved it. And like, but even immediately, like, see, that's me immediately going into shifting it. It's like, no, people loved it. There's no way that people don't feel more connected to me after that. There's no way that that wasn't a complete breath of fresh air for people. As much as maybe I could filter myself more, I'll give myself that. Like, I spoke the truth. And how could the truth be a problem? Like, like it's the truth. That's what people need. It's just what do? You tell the truth or you lie. So, okay, I'd rather tell the truth. And quite frankly, like if somebody doesn't want to hire me because I'm not buttoned up enough, like that's not really the person I want to work with anyway. And so it's like, that's just how my brain works now is like, I still have those thoughts every single day that tell me like, you need to redo that, or that wasn't good enough, or why did you post that? And then my brain immediately like, it's like I have a protective big sister in my mind that's like, wait, hold on. No. Here's the truth. And I think when you can build what I call like energetic momentum, which just means think those thoughts more, then I do think there's some magic to that. Like, do I think that attracts clients and money to you? I do. Like, I've experienced that. But even if you don't believe in that, it's like putting more energetic momentum towards those thoughts helps me just keep showing up more and staying focused on what matters. Whereas if I didn't, now I'd be focused on re-recording my masterclass, and then I'd probably go, but what's even the point? Like the name sucked, and like it didn't even work that great the first time, and not enough people. Like those negative, even if you don't believe in the woo-woo like attraction side of it, like no one, it's just neuroscience. Like nobody could deny the fact that thinking those negative thoughts about you and the actions you're taking only discourages you and distracts you from taking more actions that will move you forward. It only delays and slows you down. So that's truly like the most powerful thing that I'm really grateful I learned how to do like right away. I mean, I hired a business coach, my first business coach in 2015 actually. And it was the first thing she taught me. She was like, order these books. And they were basic like law of attraction books. But the great thing about law of attraction, at least the ones I was reading, I guess, maybe not all of them, but it was immediately like teaching you like how to shift your thoughts, how to shift your thoughts. And I just like, I actually got really obsessive with it, but I'm glad I did, to be
I
honest.
mean, 5 times a day does sound a little obsessive. I'm
Oh,
not gonna
it was obsessive.
Was that before 3 kids?
Yes. That was when I had horrible anxiety, no kids. My husband, well, he was my boyfriend then, but he was working all day. So I'm just like home alone, left with my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
All I wanted to do was be in that journal, shifting them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's a little crazy. I definitely don't think that that's required, but it's something of all the things you could get obsessive with.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm glad that that became my thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it's not required. It's that it's almost like practicing math, right? When you're a
Yeah.
kid, you have to write everything out by hand, right? Like you're doing all your times tables out by hand. But like eventually you train your brain enough that it just automatically like you automatically get the answer, right? So it's the same thing where like you did the legwork to train your brain how to do it automatically. So now when those thoughts pop up, for the most part, unless it's a hugely scary thing, it's like, oh no, we don't do that anymore. I'd rather believe this instead. And you're right, it does shift. And that's why I hesitate sometimes calling it woo or calling it manifestation, because that's all the stuff I learned, right?
Hmm.
But it's so much deeper than that when you get into the scientific side of it, the neuroscience of it, the quantum physics of it, and you're like, it's literally science based. It feels so unfair to just call it manifestation, but that's literally how so many of us get into it.
Hmm. Yeah. That's been really eye-opening for me too. It's like, oh, this is literally just how our brains work. Like we might as well leverage it.
100%. What has been we talk about your pivots and it really is you stepping into your next self, right? So do you just like go through the day like this is what I have to do, or do you have like a vision of that highest version of you that you're always emulating? Or like how do for me that's kind of what it has been until this year, where I'm like, oh, I guess I'm like kind of there, like not in a weird way, but like it's here.
Yeah.
So have you had that in the past, or has that not been a thing for you?
For me, I find it really important to like I think people who follow me, because I do talk a lot about money, obviously, and I talk about like hitting different goals and getting to your next financial level, and but truly like one thing I learned about myself is money goals and money milestones actually are not the thing that has ever moved me. Now, they have been when there has been a real like purpose for the money. But like when I hit one milestone and then I just want to go to the next just because that's what you do, that's what I need to do, go as fast as you can, quantum leap, like that has never worked for me. And so for me, I need at least one of these three things. All three are great, but at least one of these three things. I either need a next vision for like my life financially, and that's where right now it's like I have everything. I mean, sure, like I guess, investing for future wealth, which we do, but it's not really like the most exciting thing for me, to be honest. Like I don't really geek out over that stuff, but I do it. But it doesn't move me, okay? But like the things that used to move me was like buying this house, having the money to have my husband home, like having the money to have really good private childcare, like, and now we have all those things and I've normalized that amount of money. And I had someone ask me this recently. They're like, "Well, what do you do when you're struggling to make your vision bigger?" And I just don't think you don't have to. Like it there's nothing wrong if my vision genuinely was bigger, like if I got here where I am today and I was like, I want a $5 million house and I want the whatever car and I want this and that, like, I want a full-time staff and I don't know, like, great. Like then I'd have a real I'm kind of like, this is my dream life. That's where I'm like, oh, sometimes you can settle. I mean, I don't even think it's settling, but I used to be so hard on myself for settling but now I'm like, was it ever settling or was I just content and happy and had what I wanted? And you don't always need a bigger vision. But the second thing that really never ends for me, you know how my brain is. I'm like, I'm not going to remember the third. The second thing that really does always shift for me and is always evolving is like who I want to be. And I don't even know if that's how to say it, but it does feel like there's pretty much always like something I'm cultivating, like within me, like a next version of myself, or like what I call like an energetic goal. So sometimes it's a lot more personal than others. Like right now it's what I've been calling like the grown woman business thing. And this is a business tip too, like especially for women who are in the coaching industry or like the transformation based industry, like you need to be cultivating an identity. And you can have your own, but you need with your brand like a shared identity with your people. And so mine right now is like grown woman business. And it's just seeing like what things stem from like that little girl version of you. So for example, me being intimidated by other women was a little girl piece of me, right? That wasn't like the grown ass woman Taylor. Like that was the little girl version of Taylor. And so I actually think that I've cultivated that pretty well. But even still, I continue to surprise myself where it like things sneak up and I'm like, not that I don't like that version of me. I like the little girl Taylor. But she doesn't run the show anymore and she sneaks in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like she sneaks in. And so that's the thing that I'm really working on. And again, just like I said, like me and my people, like we get just as excited over a breakthrough as a new client. Like I have to have something like that where it's like, because I don't even at this level of my business, it's like there's still days where no clients come in. There's still days where no money comes in. So how do you measure if you did a good enough job? I mean, of course, was I present with my kids? Did I feel joy? Did I feel peace? Like those are like, oh, that's the third thing. Values. There they are.
Yeah.
There they are. The third thing is like being really clear on my values. So yes, that measures it, but I have this like unshakable belief that like I am here. I think this is about all of us, but I really resonated with like I'm on a soul journey and at least my soul like really likes to grow and evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And so my values are number one, but I feel like nothing makes me feel more fulfilled than like that soul growth.
Mm-hmm. And I think so for me, I've been on a growth, I mean, since I started my business, if not before, but probably when I started my business, this is year 15. So I hit this year and I hit kind of all of the big dreams and goals that I set out for when I was, first starting out. And it shook me
Yeah.
because it was kind of like well, now what? You know? And that was when I really kind of pulled back from the
Yeah.
business and reevaluated, like, where am I going? And then kind of stepping into the understanding that, like, right here, like, I'm good here. I don't need to continue pushing hard and pushing further. And am I the present in the way at home that I want to be? And looking at that because I feel, do you have clients like that push so hard for so long for the business goals that once they reach it, they're a disaster. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who struggle with exactly what you were saying in the beginning. Like they're almost too good at like keeping themselves productive and busy and prioritizing the business, which is good because a lot of people struggle with the opposite. But yeah, like it's like, oh, I want to like keep this level of success, but be able to do it in a way where, like you're saying, like I can be present at home. I can stop these like burnout cycles or feeling like my brain is always on. Like that was something I worked. Honestly, I didn't want to say I worked on it. It kind of felt like it was like an intention, and then it kind of just happened over time. But like being able to shut your brain off. Like I know you and I both know Sarah. Like there was a point where I was working with Sarah, and I was like, you know, what's really weird? Like my brain is really quiet, and it's freaking me out. Like I'm not thinking a lot. She's like, that's amazing. Like, this is a good thing, Taylor. And I'm like, okay.
Well, and I've just come off the season of like not being able to talk to people about not business.
Yeah.
So, like we would go out to date night and my husband would be like, "No, no business, no work talk allowed." I'm like, "What the hell are we supposed to talk about then?" Because I'm like, that was like my life, you know? Or he'd be like, "No kid talk, no work talk." I'm like,
You're
"What
like,
else is there?" Like, where are we going on vacation? I don't know, you know? But it is. It's like it's just a constant, and I always attributed it to my ADD brain, but you're right. It is that just always chasing a goal, always chasing what's next.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Um, well, I just want to thank you for being here with me today. I think you always just have such amazing insights into almost simplifying things. It doesn't always have to be so complicated. So thank you for sharing your beautiful brain with us today and your experience.
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me. This was such a fun conversation.
Can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
So, the best place I would say is Instagram, which is at underscore the Taylor Lee. And if you are curious about working together in any way, there's usually some kind of like free gift or very low ticket offer on my main page of my website, which is thetaylorlee.com.
And one of the things I do have to say that I love about you, because we started working together in the photography space, and I was like, I knew I wanted to work with you, but I wasn't a coach, so I didn't know, but I was just so called to it. And we would talk, and the one of the best things that you do is there's zero pressure. Anytime I've come into your DMs to be like, I really want to work with you, you're like, cool. Whenever, like when you're ready, cool. If you're not, cool. I'll see ya. Like, but it's just you are a breath of fresh air in an industry that is notoriously a little sharky. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
hmm well, thank you again for being here, and thank you for everyone listening. And we will see you next week.